All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. We have some breaking. I've been kind of watching this thing and seeing it happen, and there's two, possibly three tankers in Venezuela, or at least the Caribbean, that are being taken and confronted by the Coast Guard and American military and other stuff. So we're going to have that. I got a full broadcast for you, but this is interesting news, and the reason why is because one of the tankers is tied to, like, it goes in and out of China. It's affiliated in usage with China, and the other one is affiliated with usage for Russia. So this is pretty concerning. And then amidst all of this, Iran decided it was going to chime in and offer some support as well. So this is, it's interesting to see. So good news is, let me make this promise, as I had my video yesterday on PrepperNow. I'm not going to come here and be hyperbolic. I'm going to give you a calm, understanding of everything. You'll know when things are actually going down and getting crazy. You'll know, because I'll tell you it's time. I'll tell you the major things going on, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is some interesting breaking news. Doesn't mean that we're going to be going to war. Doesn't mean that the world is ending or anything like that, okay? So we're going to go through, and I'm going to take you through all the information. We've got other stuff going on, but there is a lot of interesting activity going on down in the Caribbean. So lock in, hit that button, as my good friend Hudson Valley has stated. By the way, I put out in my PrepperNow public post to check out the wise men, as we like to call my friends here, which are Hudson's, Prepper Dog, Roaming Prepper, and Modern Refugee. These are good people that I talk to in the background all the time, and I love having access to them because they're all smart guys. But I put their recent video up if you could go check them out and give them support as well. Also, I have a moderator here, and her name is Prepper Girl, and she's got a really cool thing on Substack. I'm getting really into the Substack thing as of late. I like what they're doing. She has just written a preparedness book, and it's an ebook, and you can go get it. And so she has forwarded me everything. I will add that to the description after this broadcast at the very top, if you'd like to check out her digital download of her book. She's got a thoughtful prepper blog on Substack that comes from a female perspective, and I think it's awesome. So we are going to get started here right now. So lock in, hit that like button, do the describe and all, or do the likes and stuff, and we'll get going. Let's hold on real quick. I'm gonna talk to my current landlord. We had a power outage last night, and it really didn't affect. Did a terrible thing to the local power, and I think they call it on one leg. But we had enough power just to have the lights on, but we didn't have enough power to cook or to heat the house. So having heaters and stuff is important. We have them here, and it's something you should definitely have as a prepper. Just think. Hold on real quick. Now he's asking about what's going on because the thermostat did not power. Now I got to go down and turn off the AC fuse for 1 hour, so the thing has a chance to restart, and then the power will come, or the heat will come back on. So here we go. All right, let's get going. This is brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. If you want to turn your 401k or IRA into gold and silver, they can do that for you. They're one of the highest, most just respected out there. Let's check out what the silver price is right now. And the silver price today is continuing to go up. It is 67.39, $67.39. I got to be telling you, if I wasn't in the midst of all this craziness with our housing and everything, I'd probably be stacking more. I really would have done it back in the 40s And my wife, of course, is like, we should just like do it, like get rid of it. And I'm like, what are you, crazy? No. Anyway, link in the description for Augusta Precious Metals. This is your crisis report. I'm all over the place. God bless you for being here. Here we go. Breaking: multiple tankers seized in the Caribbean, 12/20/2025. United States F-15E, A-10s, and AH-64 Apache gunship helicopters have launched strikes on ISIS targets in Syria in response to the killing of Americans last week. United States and Jordanian forces struck 70-plus ISIS targets in Syria with 100-plus precision munitions, CENTCOM has stated. So a couple service members were taken out, and they're retaliating. Trump says that Ilhan Omar should be sent out of our country. She should not be allowed to be a congresswoman. She married her brother. That's becoming a controversy going on right now. FBI Director Kash Patel announced a Chinese national was charged with smuggling E. coli into the United States. They didn't have enough problems going on. Pentagon has failed its annual audit for the 8th consecutive year. It's trillions and trillions of dollars is just, let's just say, though, well, September 10th, 2001, Rumsfeld. Thomas Massey says a future DOJ could prosecute Pam Bondi and others because the Jeffrey Files Transparency Act does not expire like a congressional subpoena, which ends with each Congress. Trump is touting his gold card for corporations and immigrants. Quite a beautiful day. Trump announces the most favored nation drug pricing deals with 9 pharmaceutical companies to help lower medication costs for U.S. patients. The United States has imposed sanctions on 7 associates and family members of Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Amnesty International has called for governments to stop the German-owned Portuguese-flagged ship Holger G from docking at the ports. It is reportedly carrying 440 tons of military components destined for the I to the D to the you-know-what-F companies. Jared Kushner and Steve Wyckoff pitch Project Sunrise, plan to turn GAZA into a high-tech metropolis, which would see the United States commit to roughly 20% of its reconstruction costs over a decade. These are all like real estate developers. So when they look at that area, they're looking at it like, how can I make money off of condos? There's no care for anything that's going on or the politics or the people. It's like, hey, I've got beachfront property here. Let's make some cash. U.S. plans to stop recommending most childhood gibbities and will defer to doctors, emulating a similar model in Denmark. Sounds fine to me. Saudi Arabia is intensifying efforts to contain the UAE and its partners in the Horn of Africa, including Ethiopia and the Rapid Support Forces of Sudan. UAE has increased arms shipments to the region throughout 2025, including Ethiopia. Since November, Saudi Emirati competition in the Horn increases the risk of horizontal escalation on both sides of the Red Sea, including Yemen. I mean, you've got Thailand and Cambodia, you've got problems going down in Venezuela, you've got Eastern Europe, you've got all these places. So it's par for the course if the UAE and Saudi Arabia, which are neighbors, were to start conflicting with each other. And the cuck-servatives. This is going to be the subject of my PrepperNow video. I'm getting really tired of this theatrical crap that's going on in the conservative movement. And to be honest with you, I think it's all done on purpose by these air quotes, high profile, air quotes, conservative influencers. I think that they're on purpose. I think they're put there on purpose, and all this thing is being played out in a way to divide and conquer the conservative movement. And all these people at this point, you shouldn't even, like, the best thing for you to do is not even care about it. I think playing into it just makes things worse. But anyway, this is happening over in Austria as well. Conservatives in Austria keep saying that the Freedom Party will lose with Kickl, K-I-C-K-L. His clear stance on remigration and refusal to distance himself from generational identity would scare moderate voters away. Even some liberals within the Freedom Party kept saying this to the liberal media. Now he is at 44%, basically double what the other people are. remigration in without distancing himself. He's winning and can possibly be the next leader of Austria. A lot of this is going on over in Europe. People are kind of tired of all this crap. They want their countries back. They want their identities back, and they don't like the new neighbors that are coming in and all the stuff going on. And yeah, back to my earlier sentiment about what my PrepperNow video is going to be about partially. There's other things. We're going to talk about war as well. I think this is all theatrical. I think it's all being done on purpose to divide this conservative movement, to make people go Team Erica, Team Candace, whatever the hell. And then from there, just literally just make it so the conservative movement breaks down and they can put in these frickin' communists in who are just sitting back, watching us fight amongst each other like a bunch of pussies. So to anyone who wants to come here and go, oh, you can't, you're playing into it. You're the idiot. Don't do it. People ask you about it, say, I don't care. I'm telling you, all that stuff is a theatrical show to divide the conservative movement. And if you play into it, you're fucking stupid. It's pissing me off. All the does any of that affect you? Does any of it affect you? Ask yourself that. Are they going to bring your energy prices down? Are they going to help with inflation? Are they going to help you get lower drug prices? Is any of that crap going to help you in any single way? You mark my words, it won't do a single thing. And all it's going to do is take these people that sit there and their stupid ideologies and everything, get divided, and then we'll go with this person, we'll go with that person. And then the Democrats are going to come in, the liberals, the communists, whatever you want to call them, and take over because we're sitting here jerking each other off in some kind of a theatrical, political shit show. Just tired of it. God, I can't stand dumb. Articles of impeachment are now being drafted against Pam Bondi by Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie after the redacted 90% of the material of the Jeffrey files. Israeli officials have grown increasingly concerned that Iran is expanding production of its ballistic missile program, which was damaged by Israeli strikes earlier this year, and preparing to brief President Donald Trump about options for attacking it again. By the way, for the person that comes in and is going to try and explain to me how all that crap is important, I really look forward to destroying you in a comment-based way. Please come in and lay out your little ideas and stuff about how all that's important. Please do that, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take a lot of time out of my day to frickin' knock your ass out. It is the dumbest thing ever. Thai F-16s bomb casino building near Thailand-Cambodia border. New report reveals Benjamin Netanyahu will try to convince Trump to carry out more military strikes in Iran during an upcoming Mar-a-Lago meeting. Netanyahu plans to brief him on these new strikes. Israeli officials believe Iran is expanding its ballistic missile program, preparing to make the case during an upcoming meeting with Trump that it poses a new threat. Israeli officials also are concerned that Iran is reconstituting nuclear enrichment sites the U.S. bombed in June, the sources said. But they added officials knew Iran's efforts to rebuild facilities where they produce the ballistic missiles and to repair its crippled air defense systems more immediate concerns. Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are expected to meet later this month in Florida at Mar-a-Lago, and at the meeting, the source say that he's going to make the case to the Donald about expansion of its ballistic missile program amid these threats and needing swift action. They said part of the argument is expected to be that Iran's actions present perils not only to Israel, but also to the broader region, including U.S. interests. The Israeli leader is expected to present Trump with options for the U.S. to join or assist in any new military operations. Chinese Foreign Ministry on X says that the U.S.'s massive arms sales to China and Taiwan's region grossly interfere in China's internal affairs, undermine China's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity, disrupt peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, and send a seriously wrong message to Taiwan independence, separatist forces, and others have said. China strongly deplores and firmly opposes this. No one or force should underestimate the strong will and capability of the Chinese government and people to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity. The real threat to peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait is the separatist activities of the Lai Chang-te authorities and external interference. So-called assistance in response to threat to Taiwan will only embolden Taiwan independence. Separatists put the people in Taiwan on a powder keg, push Taiwan Strait toward danger, and inevitably increase the risk of a China and U.S. conflict. That's coming. All right, moving on. Let's go to the chat real quick. Let's see what they're doing. Let's see what they're doing. Let's see what you guys are doing. I thought I was off on the West Blue. Thank you, poor bastard. I can't stand it. I hate the palace intrigue crap. I cannot stand the palace intrigue crap. And I understand why people were like putting it out there. And like I understand what was, but now it's like taking up all of the oxygen in the room and it's moving on from there. I can't stand it because it doesn't affect me. None of that is going to do anything for me or against me. It's just palace intrigue bull crap. And it's tiring. It doesn't do anything for us. It's just a bunch of people sitting there, arguing with each other in the background, and it doesn't do anything. It's not helping the country. Here's an idea. Why don't you say, let's put our differences aside and focus on making the country get back on its feet after 4 years of crap-tastic leadership. How about you put your egos aside and do that? Because that's all it is to me. It's ego. U.S. interdicting sanctioned vessel off of Venezuelan coast. December 20th, and this is where it started to drop that this is happening today. United States is interdicting a sanctioned vessel off the coast of Venezuela in international waters, 3 U.S. officials told Reuters on Saturday. High-speed train in India collided and killed a herd of 7 elephants and injured a calf. No passengers were injured. If you love elephants, not the story for you. Airbus prepares to tender contract to migrate mission-critical workloads to a European cloud. Pole dancing during the festive Christmas season in St. Mary's Church in Lübeck, Germany is going on. Yes, that's right. In Lübeck, Germany, at a church, St. Mary's Church, they're having people pole dance for the Nativity. I'm going to say that again. They're pole dancing like you would go down and see at some local strip club called Legs, Legs, Legs or something like that. Literally in a church during Christmas. Current tanker AIS picture off Venezuela is pure fiction. Massive spoofing and misidentification are taking place. This is a critical one for all the people that sit there and follow the tankers and have the civilian, information, and they're out there and they're saying, hey, I got this guy, and they're doing this is good to a point, but to be honest with you, once you're off the coast and out into the open ocean, there's not really anything of a civilian nature that's going to tell you anything that's going on. So, it says, you might think that in the time of satellite mega constellations, all of the Earth's surface would be imaged regularly. And if something big happened, we'd see it. Well, you'd be wrong. Truth is that most well-known EO satellites don't image areas of the ocean away from land. It is surprisingly difficult to get an exact answer for why here. I've heard different combinations of power saving, downlink limitations, and land-optimized instrumentations, or maybe possibly they're doing some nasty crap out in the middle of the ocean. What do you think? It's worth noting here that I'm talking about satellites with a high enough resolution to monitor human activity on the open ocean. Vessels, not lower resolution sats that monitor sea state or help with weather forecasting. So anybody saying that they know what's going out off in the high seas off the coast by about 50 to 100 nautical miles, they don't know anything. It's all just, it's not high resolution and they don't really know. At least 3 people dead and over 40 hospitalized due to a mass poisoning in Moscow guest house. Welcome to Moscow. Thailand, F-16 fighter jets carried out attacks on the Chayar border crossing in Cambodia's Pursat province. Fighting spread to 7 provinces on both sides, prompting Thailand to impose curfews and ban drones near the border. Casualties and displacement. Thailand reported at least 20 deaths, soldiers and civilians, 29 soldiers, 30 civilians injured earlier. Additional soldier losses in December. Cambodia confirmed 13 fatalities. Initially, 5 soldiers, 8 civilians, rising to 18 civilian deaths by December 17th. Over 750,000 people have been displaced, with 138,000 from Thailand and 23,000 from Cambodia fleeing to shelters, temples, and schools. Ukraine is ready to continue war in 2026. That's why a $105 billion EU loan was approved to finance this, U.S. Ambassador to NATO Whitaker states. Anybody saying that there's going to be peace over there isn't exactly knowing where the winds are blowing. 2 Haitian men who own retail stores in Boston's Matapan neighborhood face federal charges for allegedly trafficking more than $7 million in SNAP benefits. And this is kind of where it got me ticked off with everything. This is from Amir Sarfati. I know some people don't like him. I know people think that certain religion is the reason why everything is crazy and all that. I don't play into any of that stuff, folks. Okay? Let me tell you, if you think that everything is because of one group or one person or one thing or what, no, it's a confluence of suck. It's multiple crappy things happening all around us, and it's vested in chaos. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just a bunch of people with power trying to vie for more power. So thinking that some, all-encompassing, mega network of whatever is doing it is wrong. Now, the people in the background or the entity in the background, yeah, I'd say it's Satan. But then again, Satan is going to be doing what Satan does, and that's being a deceiver and putting everybody at each other's throats. So, on that note, this is what Amir has to say about the conservative movement. He says, judging by what I'm seeing happening in the American conservative, quotes, movement, I can only conclude that much of it's Christian in name only. If you're seeking truth, you will not find it in their social media platforms or from stages of major conservative events. You will find it through personal study of the Bible and in churches where the full counsel of Scripture is faithfully taught. As painful as this may be, we should not complain when God is the one doing the separating. For anyone who knows the Bible, none of this should come as a surprise. If you are of the Judaic faith in America, and believe that the Islamic left alliance is your greatest threat, prepare for a rude awakening. Fake conservatives will often employ the rhetoric that is no less National Socialist Germany-like than that of the extremists on the other side. And that is done on purpose in my mind. They bring these people in to have that kind of rhetoric, again, to make it look bad. They will claim to know God and His Word. They will use the Bible, not the Quran, or the writings of left-wing ideologues to justify their hatred. In that sense, they're even more dangerous. Now, you can take that for what it is. What I take from that is there's a lot of deception out there in the world, and you need to call BS on all of it, okay? There's a lot of BS out there in the world. Don't get deceived, okay? Trust but verify, as Reagan would say. Not that he was good or bad or anything and all that, but if your gut's telling you something, I'd suggest follow your gut, because your gut generally tends to know. And mine is telling me that this whole thing is complete crap fabrication. United States Coast Guard, with assistance from U.S. Navy, interdicted and seized the Panamanian-flagged Chinese-owned sanctioned crude oil supertanker MT Centuries today in the southern Caribbean Sea. Happened off the coast of Venezuela as the Trump administration escalates its campaign of pressure against the Chavista regime in Venezuela. Observers report the tanker Nurus Sophia, aka New Power, a crude oil tanker, has been seized by the United States government as well. Tanker had recent trips to Vladivostok, Russia, possible ship-to-ship transfer in North Korea, 2 ports in China, and then on to Venezuela. And then an oil tanker. Now this one, I'm not sure. This channel is pretty good, but it's not as used by me. But it's got a name, so we might be able to figure out what it is. If it was a nebulous post, I wouldn't put it here, but they name it. And they're saying that an oil tanker named Dianchi departed from a port in Venezuela and was shortly afterward seized by the U.S. Coast Guard with support from the military. So that's the latest right there. United States consumer sentiment divide is widening. Sentiment amongst consumers earning less than $50,000 has fallen steadily over the past year to near the lowest level since early 2024. Amongst those earning $50,000 to $100,000, sentiment has also declined, though by a smaller margin. 9 of the largest U.S. and European-based drug makers have signed a deal with President Trump to lower drug prices and avoid tariffs. The list includes Merck, Bristol-Myers Squibb, Amgen, Gilead, GSK, Sanofi, Roche's Genentech, Boehringer Ingelheim, and Novartis. So what happened to the EU? The U.S. is now 6 times more startups than the EU, with combined value that is $2.2 trillion higher. I think the EU is dying, and I think it's done on purpose. I think everything is a deconstruction so they can bring in the new system, and you can do your due diligence to what you think that looks like. Even China is running laps on the EU with more than double their startup value. Elon Musk's net worth surges to a record $749 billion after Delaware Supreme Court reinstated his 2018 pay package. He is now worth 3 times the second richest person in the world. Quality of U.S. economic data is continuing to deteriorate. The current population survey response rate, which the BLS uses to calculate the unemployment rate, is only 64%. That's the lowest on record. This is even lower than the brief drop seen during 2020 when a certain something was out in the world. Click that like button. Venezuelan regime has told EFE Noticias that it received an offer of support from Iran to, quote, confront Anglo-American piracy, end quote, by the United States. So Iran confronting American piracy by the United States. So think about that. So again, I'm not going to come on here like, some of these channels go, whip, whip, attention, attention, the world is ending. The world is ending tonight. There's a tanker off of Venezuela, and Americans are getting ready to start firing. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Okay? You'll know when things are going sideways. It won't be a question. You won't have to go to a YouTube channel to figure it out. You'll know. Okay? And when that happens, the crisis report's going to be here to give you every single side of the story. Sides you don't like. You might not like some of the people I quote here. You might enjoy them very much. You might not even agree with all the things I say. You're not supposed to. But understand that I'm trying to come here from as honest of a position as possible. From honest to my own self to honest to what you guys are hearing and seeing on every different level. Okay? So, yes, you only die on Wednesdays. That's correct, Ohio Valley. So, yeah, that was weird. That was weird. Well, I guess we're done anyway. Sorry, the thing swiped over. So anyway, yeah, that's it. There you go. Okay. Have critical thinking skills, guys. If it smells like BS, it acts like BS, it's probably BS. If they're pushing it in front of you and wanting you to see it, it's probably BS. If they want everybody talking about certain stories, it's probably BS. Okay? They want you to see things for a reason. So know that what's shoved in front of you is done on purpose. It is. And it's more than likely not done for the reasons you're thinking. So be a critical thinker. Question everything. And if your gut's telling you it smells like crap, it's probably crap. Okay? All right. Friends, I will see you guys on the next one. I'm about to go live on PrepperNow. We appreciate you being here. Hit that like button. Do the subscribe thing. You know, support the Prepper channel. There's great channels out there. I actually, like I said, I put out onto my community post on PrepperNow, Hudson Valley Modern Refugee, Prepper Dog, and Roaming Prepper. These are my friends in the background who I like to talk to. Also, support Angry Prepper. I think he does great work as well. As a former mod for him, he got taken down last night in midstream. So do know that there's like efforts out there to make it so you're watching short form videos, drooling all over yourself, gaining weight, not getting healthy, and not doing the things that you should be doing, which is probably getting prepared for more than likely some form of a world war in the next 3 to 5 years, and more than likely the ramifications thereof, whether it's preempted by financial problems or followed by financial problems. I can assure you the trajectory is not good. So, yes, we are. We're extreme. They also put patriots in the extremist culture, you know? If extremism is like, you know, having some food to handle myself, I don't want to take over the government. I want a government that functions for me and adheres to the Constitution. And I'll say that to anybody who were to come and question me. So I'm not here to do anything nasty, but give you guys the truth. I know that all of our problems can be solved in a peaceful, intellectual way. Fully understand that. So, and also at that point, if they were to do that, and if they're designating us people that, when they have their own FEMA material and information saying you should be prepared for problems, prepared is a short form for prepper, isn't there just a bit of contradiction and irony and almost, well, it is what it is. You get the point. All right, friend. God bless you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Thank you, SRD. Yes, put that finger where it needs to go. See you on the next one.